Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Teen Talk Live. I am your host, Ann Dillard. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm excited to share this topic with you tonight. We have some special hosts, but first of all, let me tell you what the topic is about. It's about blended families, raising bonus daughters, step parenting, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. And so I'm just going to go on families and share this out. Bonus daughters, make sure that I can hear you. I can see your comments and that you can hear me. And whatever you want to call it, that's what we're going to be are in for a good night. Hey, Marquita, thank you for being here. Hey, Avis. Hey, Lakeisha, thanks for joining us. So we're talking about raising bonus daughters tonight. So share this out, invite somebody to join us because we have some special guests. We have our parenting coordinator expert, Ms. Chaute Thompson here, my colleague and my friend. Welcome, Chaute.
Hello, thank you so much. So glad to be here with you.
Yeah, so tell our audience a little bit about you and what you do and where in the world you're from.
Well, I am here in Florida. I am a licensed mental health counselor here in Florida. I am also a certified family mediator and a qualified parenting coordinator. I work with families who have gone through divorce, who are going through many different types of transitions, helping children to smoothly go through this process and helping the families to be able to do so as well. Helping the individuals to work through their own individual things as well as helping the family unit.
That is so interesting, Chaute, and that is such important work that you are doing because as I was preparing for this, I was reading about the statistics of the high number of families who are now blended families and raising children together. And it's so important to have your services because that's not an easy thing to do.
Right. It's not at all, but I truly do enjoy it. And I love to be able to see families when they come in one way, but they're able to leave an entirely different way. So I love the work that I'm doing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you all stay tuned because you're going to hear more from our expert, Ms. Chaute Thompson, all the way from Florida. And so help me welcome Ms. Kellie Klein, and she's a mom of 2 bonus daughters. And Kellie, welcome and introduce yourself and where you're coming from today and a little bit about your family.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Kellie and I am in Wisconsin. I have 2 bonus daughters. One is 8 in 3rd grade and the other is 13 in 7th grade. I've been in their life for about 4.5 years. I'm actually marrying their father in a little less than 2 months.
Wow, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes, it's very exciting. When I first met them, they were 4 and 9. And so it's given me an interesting perspective of, I've gone through a little bit of everything with the 2 of them, and now we're hitting puberty with the 13-year-old. So that is always another interesting dynamic, but I love it and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Awesome. So as we go through, we're going to hear a little more from you and as you share your experiences with your bonus daughters. So let me just take a second to invite and welcome our guests to Teen Talk Live. This is Kimball. Thank you for being here. Henry, thanks for being here. And Jackie, I'm so glad that you are here. Share this out. Invite somebody to join. If you know somebody who is a bonus mom or have a blended family or is raising stepchildren, however, whatever you might call it, I think this is going to be a very important show to listen to and share. Hey, Dr. Sapp, thanks for being here. I'm glad you joined us. Okay, so I should say that we also have some questions that came in the inbox today. from people who wanted to get some insights on some issues pertaining to step parenting. So I'm going to be asking those questions and get feedback for those people who were not able to join us live. And if you have questions about step parenting, bonus parenting, or blended family, however you want to call it, drop them in the comment section while we have our expert here with us tonight. So Kellie, let's go back to you. So you have been in these girls' lives since 4 years, for 4 years now.
Yep, 4 years.
Okay, so tell us about how did it come to be? I know you're dating their dad, but how was the initial transition with them? What was that like?
It was a lot better than I could have ever imagined. Tim and I kind of laughed because I remember when I was younger, a lot younger, and was telling my father that if he ever dated somebody else, that I would not be nice to that person and I would have all these problems with that person. And so when I found myself in a situation where I was dating somebody with young kids, I had asked him, said, you know, are they going to hate me? Like, are they going to try to put gum in my hair or something like that? And he was like, that's ridiculous. Of course not. And I was still really nervous. But the first day I met them, they wanted to like hold my hand and walk around and show me their favorite stores in town. And, you know, they just made me feel welcome right away.
Mm-hmm. Wow. What an incredible experience. Mm-hmm. Right. Because some of us have reference to step parenting, and I know one TV reference that I always use is Daddy's Little Girl. Are you familiar with that movie?
I'm not.
Okay, so it was Chaute, are you familiar with Daddy's Little Girl?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Okay. So
very nice movie.
It is, and it's these three little girls and their dad is dating somebody. And they, you know, they had so much resistance to her. It's like, you're not going to come up here and be my mother. And, and so it's, I imagine the challenges of step parent could be even more difficult when they have a biological parent who's active in their life. Mm-hmm. So absolutely. How was that for you as you transition with their bio mom?
To be honest, and this is actually something that I was going to ask you guys on your thoughts on it, we get along great. And I think that helped it, where the girls knew that their mom and I didn't have any negative feelings towards each other. We just realized, like, you know, in her eyes, how can I be mad when my kid has more people to love and take care of them? Mm-hmm. I think her and I do most of the co-parenting and the communication, which it works for our family dynamic, I guess. And but I don't know if there was something wrong with that it, you know, I don't know. It's a lot on me sometimes to always be the one to, like, if there's a problem, I have to be the first one to try to resolve it.
Okay, so how is it really with you and Tim? Do both of you, are you on the same page when it comes to the rules in the home?
Yes. Yep, definitely. I just think that they have so much animosity. I mean, they are exes, and there's probably more to that than anybody really knows, because they spent years together. But they just can't communicate well. And so when it comes to the girl, she just finds it easier to say, like, hey, this is going on, you know, fill in Tim as you feel needed, but I want you to know that this is what's happening with the girls lately, or whatever it may be.
Okay, so it sounds amazing that there is some communication happening, because many times families are not communicating well and it's hurting the children. So at least you do have that, but are you feeling pressure with having to be the go-to person between Tim and bio mom?
The only time it's uncomfortable or puts more pressure on me is that when he feels one way and she feels another way. And I'm kind of put in the middle to be like, well, I can see her perspective, but I can also see your perspective. And so in those instances, I just kind of, you do your best, but at the same time, it's like, I back my partner up, absolutely, but I need to back my kids up too.
Right, definitely. So I really love the way that you're handling it. If you see that it starts to be a problem for you in any type of way, that's where you and Tim definitely need to come together and come up with some type of boundaries as far as how involved are you going to be, and then come up with a plan for when there is a disagreement, what's going to be the go-to and how's the communication going to happen between you, bio mom, and him, to have a plan in place. So when these type of disagreements or awkward, uncomfortable moments come up, that you know the safest way and the most emotional effective way to keep yourself sane and not too overwhelmed with the back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I think that's some really good advice because, like, you said, Kelly, you're up on puberty now, right? And that's a huge transitional point in a teen's life, going through puberty. And it's so great that these girls have such a strong community and such a strong family support. That is so amazing. And so as you enter the marriage, I think what Chaute says is really, really critical, that you check in with yourself and say, when is it too much, and where do I need to stay? Say enough, So Brene Brown, with Chaute and I, are both trained in her work through the Daring Way Institute. She talks about boundaries, and boundaries being able to define what's okay and what's not.
Yes.
Right. And so sometimes it's hard to do that because as human beings, or as, stepmom or bio mom or bonus mom, we want to be liked and we want to be appreciated. And the thing about it is, we want to set the stage for something that's sustainable. Yeah. So that's really, you've got a lot going really good for you.
Yes, you do. That's a blessing, the way that you're able to communicate, because many families, they struggle with that in the beginning, and then they finally learn how to communicate effectively. So I'm happy for you that you have that from the beginning.
I feel very lucky.
That's so cool. Yes. And I think, even developing ways to make sure you keep the communication going, because as you enter into this marriage, which is another dimension of your relationship, and the possibilities of other children, bio children between you and Tim being a part of the family, if that's, what is in your family's future, then that creates other transitional points for the family as well.
Sure.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Chaute, as the family potentially grows?
I think it's great to keep the communication open as the family grows. Have a plan in place. If you know that you do want to start to have children, have a discipline plan in place as far as, are you on the same page with the way that you want to discipline your children? So those are things that those conversations must start to be had from now. So when that time comes, you're able to be on the same page and it can be a smooth transition.
Yeah. So I'm just so excited, and I thank you, Kelly. I know you're not feeling that well, and you came out here and joined us all the way from Wisconsin. How cold is it there?
I think it was 25 this afternoon.
Ooh, okay. I just recently moved from Minnesota, so I don't envy you. Right? So let me take a moment just to pause and welcome our guest. Hey, Daryl, thanks for being here. Hey, Jazz, thanks for being here. Chastity's in the house. Thank you for joining. And Maya's here. Thank you for joining. You all chime in on this conversation. Lakeisha, she tagged a few folks. I think she's saying you all need to be in on this conversation. Renita is here. Thanks for joining. Latasha, thanks for being here. So we are talking about bonus daughters, raising bonus daughters, and Kellie has two amazing bonus daughters, and she has an amazing relationship with their mom. And the family is dynamics is changing because they're getting married in a couple of months. It's really exciting. And so what happened earlier is we got a lot of inbox questions, and I'm going to throw it out to my panelists because we also have expert parenting coordinator here with us and mediator Chaute Thompson. And so we have some questions. And if you have questions, please drop them in the comments section or inbox them. I can still see my inbox so that we can get them answered. So the first question, and Chaute, this is for you. What is the number one struggle that therapists see in blended families?
One of the number one struggles that I've seen with blended families are the parenting styles being different. One parent's more strict than the other parent. They're now coming together, and they both are bringing children into this home, and they've been parenting differently in their homes separately. And now they're coming together and trying to see how are we going to make this happen. So that's been a major struggle because now the children are feeling like one is not fair. One is more lenient on one child and not as lenient on another child, or too strict. So this is where there's some discontentment in the home. And this is where we have to come together, and both parents have to come up with a plan as far as in this home now, how are we going to parent? Because in our separate homes, this is what we did. This is what we had as expectations for our children. But now that we are one unit, what are we going to do moving forward to make this successful for us? So that's one of the challenges that I've seen. Another challenge, don't you only ask for one, but another challenge that I see often are children not feeling wanted or not feeling like they are a part of the family, because now they might have been the only child for a good number of years. And then now when they come in and families are blended and now there's numerous children, they're not feeling like they are a part anymore, or they are as special or as important. So for these families, I make sure that I help families spend one-on-one time with their children and having some family time. So just building those relationships and doing things with their children as a whole, and then having like one-on-one time to build relationships as well.
I think that's really critical because I see that too, being a teen counselor or therapist, I see that where a lot of my teenagers who are in blended family, excuse me, I felt this sneeze coming up, who are in blended families, they'll say that they don't feel like they belong anywhere. Now, for me, that was my experience, because when I was with my mom and my stepdad, and they had their own children, I call them their own children, I didn't feel like necessarily that I belonged there. I felt like I was always imposing. And so, and that might not have been their reality. That was, you know, my reality. And so that's how I felt. And then when I went to visit my dad a couple times a year or whenever, he had, you know, another family over there. And so special accommodations had to be made for me to be there. And so I was like, what, I don't feel like I fit in here. I don't fit in here. And so growing up, I've always gravitated to outside families that I made my own, you know? And so it's amazing that Kellie, you're so new in the game, even though you're 4 years in, and you all had time to build and
Yeah.
strengthen this family
Mm-hmm.
before, you know, any transitions. And so I think that's really, really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of the other things that I see that my teens struggle with blended families is the schedules. So I've had clients who they spend part of the week here, and then on a rotating week they spend the end of the week there. And so I remember one day one of my girls, she came in my office and she's like, I've just had it with this schedule. I don't know if I'm coming or if I'm going. I have to keep up with who's doing what. And it feels like I've been doing this since kindergarten and I'm just tired.
Just tired, yes. I totally understand that. My children went through some of that, and then I have clients that come in speak about that as well. So some of the things that I've told them that can help them with that, one, having a calendar, a hard copy calendar that you can really put where you are with who, when, what type of activities are going to take place, and then have items. So you're not having to tug back and forth a bag of clothes and a bag of your favorite items. Have items at each of your homes. Okay, and actually call them homes, right? Many times we say mom's house and dad's house, but I like to make sure that we're saying home with mommy and home with daddy, right? That way we can start to think of it as a part of our own, right? And then if we are truly enjoying our time with each of our parents, now it's time to make an attitude of gratitude list, right? What are we truly appreciating about our home with mommy, and what are we appreciating about our home with daddy? That way, that's what we can start to focus on instead of focusing on some of the things that are not our favorites, right? And if we have items, if we have our comfort stuff at each home, and now we have positive things that we can focus on in each home, it can kind of shift the way that we see it.
I really, really like that because, and Kellie, I'm going to come to you because I want to know how you work your schedules out. I really like that because I remember some of my clients, it got to the point where one parent felt a little jealous because they thought that the child was having more fun at the other parent's house. And so they're like, well, I bought them this and I bought them that and this, and they're having more fun over there.
Right.
So I love what you said about, you know, having your comfort items at each house so that you don't have to lug them along every, you know, whatever days you have.
That's no fun. That's no fun at all.
Right. So Kellie, how does your family work it out?
Yeah, absolutely. So I can tell you that it was a struggle until we had our own house and our own space. And now the girls have their own rooms. And one of the things that and please don't think I bought a dog or now I have two dogs because of I grew up with dogs, so it was important to me. But that was one thing that the girls would say is like, they had dogs at their mom's house. And so when we were able to, we had a yard and we had a house. And so we got a dog. And that, I think just even that one thing that made me incredibly happy made them just as happy because it was a normal that made us feel like a family. And, you know, and like, I agree. Don't live it out of suitcases. Nobody likes doing that when they're on vacation. Why would kids like to do that in their house? So my kids have dressers. They have every piece of clothing that they would at the other parent's house here. I think our biggest challenge is, especially with them being 8 and 13, that they're in sports year round now. And so if they have practice and they forget their soccer cleats here, it's really not feasible to have 2 pairs of soccer cleats and 2 pairs of every sporting equipment. That's not possible. So it's just, you know, I remember a couple of years ago being really frustrated because it felt like every single week they were forgetting some sort of sporting thing at our house. And so we started doing what you said, writing it down, going through the list on Tuesday night, because they'd go back to their moms on Wednesday and saying, do we have practice between now and the next time you're here? Do you have games? What do we need? Let's get it all, put it in a bag and put it in the entryway so it's ready to go in the morning. And, so a lot of it was us needing to change how we were and being a little more organized and thinking ahead instead of right away in the morning trying to gather everything.
Yes.
That's really good. So let me ask Chaute this. Do you think that sometimes the kids purposely forget stuff at different places? Have you found that?
I don't think that's a fair question. And when I say that they purposely, I mean, it really depends on the way that transition is going for them, because if they are having some anxieties about the change, it's just like sometimes they're going to feel sick. Sometimes their stomach's going to hurt. Sometimes their head's going to hurt. Sometimes they're just not going to want to have to go. So they're going to do everything and say everything to get to stay in a home that they might feel a little bit more comfortable or more attached to that parent. Right. So those type of things, I'm not going to say it doesn't happen. Right. But I think we must be very supportive of our children and really try and understand where they're coming from. Right. Because we know that the situation is not fair for them. And we know that we wouldn't want to have to live in two separate homes. Right. So we have to be supportive of where they are. And then even though it's outside of their decision, it's something that they have to do because it's healthy to have relationships with both parents. So we have to just explain the benefits of going to each home and then teach them through example of how it's okay to go through these different transitions. And I go through things that I'm not comfortable with. And this is what I do to help myself.
Right. And I can appreciate how Kellie, how you and Tim worked that out to go through the list and check it off to make sure that, things are prepared for. And I think that's a really great technique. So, okay, so I have another question. Let me just pause and welcome our guests. Hey, Saber, thanks for being here. Pamela Worlds, thanks for being here. Sister Sandy, thanks for being here. And Shamari, thanks for being here. Carmen, thank you for joining us. So as you come in, just like and share our broadcast today. We're talking about on Teen Talk Live, we're talking about blended families, step parenting, or raising bonus daughters. And we have amazing mom of two, Kellie, here, and our panel expert. We have Chaute here talking about how to navigate this. And I'm throwing a little something in there every now and then. So thanks for joining us and share this out. So here's something. I don't love my biological child the same as my stepchild. Doesn't mean I don't love her or care for her. I've only known her from the age of 9 and now she's 15. Most of those years, she was really mean to me, her stepmom. Now she wants a real mother-daughter relationship. What do I do? That's a real question, isn't it?
And we are all people and have feelings, right? So her feelings are valid. She has felt hurt for many years by her bonus daughter that has not been extremely nice and kind to her, but now she wants to have a loving relationship, right? And we can't knock the fact that now the bonus daughter wants a loving relationship, but now is where she might have to work through some of her resentment that she might have built up, right? But then it's time to take some baby steps to build the relationship, do some things together, play some board games together, watch some movies together, go and get your nails done together. Do something where you can ask about the day, talk about some of the small stuff, right? To where you can now build up to having a true relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something because of my step parent relationship growing up, I never thought that there could be a stepmom who could love you like your mom loves you, and make you feel just as important and involved, until I met one of my friends in high school, and their stepmom, they didn't even call her stepmom, she loved them. There was no way you could tell that she was not their bio mom. And that changed my perspective. And I actually enjoyed spending a lot of time at their house. That was one of my escape spots, because they had such a healthy relationship, and it was just so amazing. I couldn't even fathom that that was possible. So I'm thinking about this mom who wrote this, and that it's possible.
Very much so.
It's
very much so.
Yeah, and like you said, her feelings are real.
Both of them.
Yes. Do you want to add anything to that, Kelly?
I've been lucky. Well, we were talking about if we expanded our family, and we're not. Okay. So that, I mean, full disclosure, it's just going to be the four of us and our fur babies.
Yes.
But every family is different. Mia is our 13-year-old, and Mia has a friend that she plays on the basketball team with. And this friend said, wow, your stepmom is like amazing. And she made like comments saying like, I really need to like talk to my stepmom more, or make an effort with my stepmom more. So I guess it's interesting how kids perceive things from outside perspective as well. My advice to that mom would be just baby steps. Start by taking her out and doing things as a friend would be. Start with a friend, because if this daughter actually wants to have that relationship with her, she's going to put in the effort now too, and it will grow from there.
Right. That's good stuff. Good stuff. And a lot of times when we talk about stepmom or step parenting, a lot of us have the reference to Cinderella.
The worst.
Right? It's like, Cinderella. But like I said, I've had the opportunity to have different people, starting with my friends from high school, to change that perspective for me. So here's another one. How do I stop one kid from telling the other kid to go back to live with their mom or dad, when the adult and extended family are trying to be fair, but the stepchild always, okay, so this is two different issues. So one part is the kid who lives at the house full time before the stepchild came, keeps telling the stepchild, go back to your mom or dad, go back to where you came from.
Not nice at all, right? For something like that, it's important to set some rules, expectations, consequences, rewards in the home, right? So it's important for the parents, both the bio parents and the step parents, to come together and have some nice conversation with this child that's being mean and nasty, right? To help them to see that golden rule: do unto others as you would like done to you, right? Help them to understand how words hurt and how they stick with us, right? And then have some consequences in place. Because if we have to start at home, we have to start with the expectation that we want to make sure that our children are showing respect, are being kind, being courteous to people in the home and outside the home. And if they're not doing this, you're going to give them some type of consequence if they're doing it at school, right? So we need to make sure that they're giving them consequences in the home as well.
Yeah.
So
that's so what you said is so important. And I think also, you know, adding some reassurance to that child that this other child is not going to take your place.
Right.
You know, there's still enough of me, there's enough love, there's enough, you know, space, there's enough of everything to extend our love and our arms around this other child.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great point, because that could be another reason why they're doing that, is because they are scared that this other child's going to take their place. So it could be just a number of reasons of why it's taking place, but to nip it in the bud, it starts with the conversation. It starts with the expectation, the consequences, and then that a reassurance for sure.
Yes, I think that's good stuff. And so the second part is when the adults in extended family are all trying to be fair, but the stepchild always looks for the difference, saying, you love your kid more. So if the bonus daughter is saying to the stepmom, you know, you love your child, your biological child, more than you love me. And so this mom is pointing out, what do you do when you feel like you're doing all of this, but this child is always trying to find the difference in how you're treating them?
Start with the heart to heart, right? If you start with the heart to heart, one-on-one time, because everyone's perception and perspective is different, right? So we need to know, what are they seeing that's making them feel this way? Am I possibly doing something that I don't even realize that I'm doing, right? So instead of being on the defense to quickly say, no, I'm not, and stop speaking that way, let's actually have a heartbeat. All right, are there some things that I might be doing unconsciously, right? And then if it's just a blurred type of perception, now let's talk about it. Let me explain to you, when I do XYZ, it's not me not showing you love, right? Because we need to also remember every child's different and every child needs different things. And we as the parents, we know this, but the children just look at it as, you're not being fair. Right. So we can have a nice sit down and start to explain some of these differences, and that I do this because these are your strengths and these are your weaknesses, while this child has these strengths and these weaknesses. So,
and you know, that is so true, because you need that whether you have stepchildren or not, because just having two siblings, two biological children, they're inevitably, one is going to say, you love that one more, you treat that one better. You know, that happens. I mean, not in every family, but that is pretty typical.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's really good. So here's another one. I have an older bonus daughter. She's in her 20s. I am now realizing that she's lacking some basic skills. Sometimes it seems like I'm living with a 10-year-old. I'm not sure how to help her to become self-sufficient. I'm not sure how to help her to maximize her potential and be independent without crushing her spirit.
Okay. So with that, I think it's really important to start to build. First of all, it's always important to build a relationship, but then share your own journey. Share some of the things that you might have not done very well as you started to get into adulthood, right? Be transparent. Have some moments of transparency with her so she can see that you're human too, right? And then also let her know that I'm here to support you. Share with her like tidbit nuggets here and there of some of the things that might be able to help her with her living situation and to take better care of herself. But don't do it in such a way that it's overwhelming, that she feels like she's being judged. But then when she knows that you're building that relationship, that it's a safe place for her to come to get advice, she'll be able to do so more and more.
Right. Kelly, do you have any insights on that? What do you?
I think you made a good point of, don't overwhelm them. it doesn't matter what age, you want to make sure that they know, like, you're their friend. You want them to succeed. You know, you'll be there for them, whatever, you'll help them with whatever they need help with. Putting a little bit onto them too, and being like, I guess it kind of depends on what they're needing help with, but
Mm-hmm.
The last couple of years, my older one has needed help, getting motivated to stay on top of like her house chores and things like that. And so we'd start them, and then we'd kind of put a timer on the microwave and say, okay, let's keep at it for 30 minutes, and just kind of give her a small goals. And then hopefully just that builds to being like a lifelong skill.
I think those are really, really good points. So I'm going to just stir the pot a little bit. I'm not a stepmom, but I mean, having worked with girls and having girls always in close contact with me, I don't know. I'm gonna try to not be judgmental and say, what have you been doing all your life? And
oh no,
how come you don't know how to do this? It's hard not to go there. It's like, okay, so I did a live on common sense. It's not common, right? It's only common based on common experiences. But the human non-clinician part of me might want to be like, what the heck? And so I'm saying that because I'm portraying some of the frustration that some of the parents might be feeling.
Definitely.
My audience might be feeling. And it's like, and at some point you have to protect yourself to not be resentful at the parent that raised her. Because you can easily get judgmental. I mean,
yes, that's so true. Yeah, no, you are absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. I mean, it's going to be human nature to say what, right? That's just human nature, right? But then that's where we have to be empathetic. So when we are able to kind of meet our bonus child where they are, right? And start to try and better understand these things that are not so common to them, right? We can share with our girlfriends or someone in a safe space our own frustrations, right? Because we can't keep that bottled up. Okay. So it's important for us to share that frustration, but then it's super important for us to be supportive, right? And we want to help our bonus baby or bonus young adult get to where they need to be, right? So to be able to do that, it's going to start with support, because if anyone feels like they're being judged, they're just going to clam up.
That's true. That is so true. Let me see. I think I lost you, Chastity. Not Chastity. I'm looking at Chastity comment and calling. Oh my gosh, I'm calling Chaute Chastity. Okay, say something, Chaute. Let me see if I can still hear you.
Can you hear me?
Okay, yes. I think I lost you for a second, but let me pause. And Chastity says, "Good stuff. Bonus moms matter."
Yes.
Right. Michelle, thank you for joining. Monica, thanks for being here. We're having a good conversation. Miss Darsha, thanks for being here. Hey, Val, thanks for joining. Tanika said, what's the subject for tonight? And tonight we are talking about blended families, step parenting, raising bonus daughters. And we're talking about real life challenges here. Sarah, thanks for being here. And this is good stuff. And of course, I'm going to interject and try to get some different perspectives also. So here's another one. This must be a hot topic amongst our bonus moms. It says, I find it difficult to show affection to my stepdaughter, like hugging, cuddling, etc. This is just not me, but our interactions leaving me feeling guilt-ridden and full of shame.
Okay, that's a hard one, right?
Wow.
That is a hard one. So, but yet she has the desire, because the thought is even in her head of something that she's noticing about herself and she's seeing that it's not being done. So that's the first step that I just want to just first give her some kudos with that, right? Yeah. And then next now, how do we start to show that affection? It's really going to be with some baby steps. It's really going to be with starting to see what are this child's likes and dislikes. And then I always love to talk about the 5 love languages, because even though the five love languages, we talk a lot about it for couples, it's great for relationships with our children as well. Okay, so if we're able to take that assessment and see what our child's love language is and what our love language is, now we can start to show each of our children their own love language. It might be that they might not even want the cuddling and the touching, right? They might actually want acts of service or some thoughtful gifts, right? So we first need to figure out the love language, and then we're able to show them love little by little.
Okay, so, all right, I'm mixing the pot, right? I'm stirring the pot, not mixing. I'm stirring the pot a little bit. So what if the child's love language is personal touch, and I'm just like, that's not me. So, like she's saying, that's not me. But when I resist the hugs and the cuddling and stuff like that, because I kind of have that wall up, then what do I do with my shame? And what do I do with my guilt?
Okay, so it's really going to start with taking some time to get that reinforcement from that child, right? Because when we see that we are taking some small steps to tuck them in at night, or give them just a small little booty hug, if it's even a booty hug, right?
But giving them booty hug. What's a booty hug?
Oh, you never heard of a booty hug?
No, what's a booty hug? I would.
In church growing up, we used to call it a booty hug. It's if you're giving a hug and your shoulders are touching, right? So it's a hug, but the whole rest of your body is way out there.
Oh,
so it's not a hug that you're right, but you're kind of, your whole body is out, but then you're touching right here. So it's a booty hug. Right?
Oh, okay, because you tuck your booty out in order.
Yes, you're sticking your booty all the way out, which makes the rest of your body you're not really touching.
Oh.
So even if you're starting as small as that, right? It's not intimate, affectionate, but you're starting somewhere and you're seeing how the child reacts to it. That's going to reinforce you continuing to do it.
Wow.
Right? And if we think about when it comes to shame and guilt, guilt is really from the act, the behavior of, okay, I'm feeling guilty because I did something. Shame is, I'm not worthy of something. I suck because of something. So it's easy to mix these things up. Brene Brown tells us all the time, we can mix these things up, but they're different. So it's time for you to really analyze, are you really feeling shame or are you feeling guilt? Is it really both that you're experiencing, right? And if it's guilt, it's understandable because you're seeing that you are portraying a behavior that you want to change. And that's okay. Now it's about taking some steps to change it.
Okay. So what I hear you saying is the guilt part might be, it's not necessarily bad or wrong. It's just saying that there's a behavior that you feel the need to change. And the shame part is saying that I am bad, I am wrong. I'm a bad stepmama, I'm wrong. So we want to eliminate the shame.
Right.
Because no good deed can come from a negative thought.
Exactly.
Okay. So that, yes, Chastity is on it. She's like, the love tank starts. Let's see. She is dropping comment as a child. Yes, it does. I'm so excited. I lost all the comments now because my screen went dead. Hey, Mr. Todd, thank you for joining us. And Elder Lewis, thank you for being here. Share this out. This is good stuff. And one of the reasons why I think it's important that we have this conversation is because in the statistics, it showed that there is a large number of divorces that happens in blended families. And everybody is not really, doesn't really go into it with the skills or the support, the skills that Kellie has, or the support from people like Chaute, but they go in and they try to make it work. And as a result, there's a large number of divorces behind blended families. And so I hope that, my hope for you is that we can pass on some nuggets that can help you to strengthen your families, to strengthen these bonds, or encourage you a little bit to seek some more help.
Yes.
Right. So, okay. Here's another one. It says, my stepdaughter is mad at her mom for not being around and takes out her negative feelings on me, her stepmom. What are the best ways not to take it personal?
Okay. That's difficult, right?
Yes.
Because she's being treated negatively because bio mom is not really in the picture. So first things first, it's about having a chat with the bonus daughter, giving her space, letting her know that, you know what, I understand that I am not mom and I am not going to take mom's place in any way at all, right? I want you to know that I'm here to support, and it's okay. Give her space when she needs space to sit in her feelings and to process bio mom not being as supportive as she would like bio mom to actually be, right? But then also setting the stage of what's going to be accepted and what's not going to be accepted. I can't accept you treating me poorly because you are upset about bio mom not being around, right? So it's about setting that stage, having those conversations, and helping them to know that it's okay to not be okay. Right? It's okay to feel sucky that this relationship is not where you want it to be. And then teaching her different ways to really express those emotions, right? Yeah. Because right now she's not knowing how to express it. So she's taking it out on mom. Wow. So doing some things to start to teach her that. And then of course, mom is going to have to work through some stuff too, because although mom is telling us that she doesn't want to take it personal, she is kind of taking it personal, right? So now mom needs to have an outlet for herself. She probably can definitely seek out some professional help for her to talk through some of her feelings. Definitely have that support from dad will be awesome, right? And then doing some things for herself to process, if it's journaling, right? Because then if she's doing that, she can start to sort through some of her feelings of knowing that it's not her fault and it's not personal. And then she's going to be better able to build a healthy relationship with her bonus daughter.
Wow, that's good stuff. Kellie, do you have anything to add to that? That's a big one.
Yeah, I think every child, no matter what situation, kind of forgets that adults have feelings too. I mean, they just think that we're the adult and we have our life together, and that whatever they say and do can't hurt us. One of the things my mom loves about the fact that I am a bonus mom now is that I call her probably on a daily basis and like either apologize for things I did growing up or thanked her profusely for the things that she did for me. Just little things that I never even realized until I was put in the same situation. But yeah, just sitting down with your children and explaining like what you did hurt my feelings, and I need you to know that that is not okay in my book and that it was hurtful. And then like you said, having the backup of your partner too, because there's times where Tim will say like, that was really rude what you said to Kellie, and like I'm not okay with that, right. So knowing that we're a team and we back each other up.
I like that, having the backup from the dad. That I think that's really important. So they know that you're not in it alone, and don't send all of that to me. This is a collective parenting that's taking place here.
Right.
Good. Yes. Thank you, Chastity, for your comments. And she said, it's not okay. It's okay to not be okay. And that's something that we really have to learn. And Lakeisha, yes, this is good stuff. So, okay. So have you all ever heard of the phrase nacho parenting? This was new to me. So it's nacho parenting. I had to ask, what is that? And it's not your child, not your problem.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah, that's aggressive.
I know. I was like, okay, not your child, not your problem. So as it relates to disciplining, so it's like, this is not my child, so I'm not going to discipline. And I'm like, oh, wow. I don't know how I would feel about that if I were a step parent. You know, it seemed like that in cases like that, I'm making a big assumption, is that communication needs to be worked on amongst the parties, the parenting parties.
So question, is that the parents that are saying that, or is it the children that are saying it to the parents?
The parents.
It's the parents saying that. Wow.
Yes. So I'm like, ooh, nacho parenting.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, whoever has this or is using this term, I think they need to come see you, Chaute.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I can't see how that is effective in any way.
Not at all.
Wow. So ladies, we are Chastity say, okay, there's a different type of discipline that should be discussed. There are different types of discipline. Yes, there are different types of discipline that should be discussed. And I think part of it is, I know at one point it was said that if that's not your child, your biological child, you leave the discipline up to the biological parent to do it. And I think that there's validity there. And I think that if you have a household with two parents, I think that you should have a discussion and decide who's going to discipline, because I don't believe in wait till your dad comes home kind of thing.
Right.
No, I can tell you my house, if they're being disrespectful or if acting out, like, I do take privileges away and I do send them to their rooms, and I don't wait for Tim to give me the okay on that. Like, we're all under this in one roof. We're in this together, and no.
And you have to be confident. You all have to have had that set up where you know that he's going to support you in your decision to make that. So you don't have a nacho parenting agreement in your house.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. Well, ladies, this has been really, really good. Really good for me and for our audience, everyone who's tuned in. I thank you all for being here. And so we are at the top of the hour. And I just want to know, do you have any final comments to people who are on this journey navigating raising bonus daughters? Because it's tough enough raising your own. And so that brings another dynamic. It can work. We have an excellent example here from Kellie, who, they've worked through some stuff and exemplified that this can work. And so any final and closing remarks for our audience?
I just want to share with you that it's important to create new traditions, create some things for your household that works, because this is your new type of family, and create your own beautiful moments. It doesn't have to be the same type of things that you did before. You can create things that works for your household. Wow. All right. And then if you're seeing that you're having some type of conflict or disagreement, have some family meetings, have some moments where you can all come together and you can learn how to effectively communicate with each other. So you're able to hear each other and respond in such a way that it's not defensive, but you're coming up with solutions together as a family, because that's going to help everyone to feel wanted and accepted. And then you're a team. So work as a team, have the parents making sure that they are having their own discussion, that they're on the same page. Because if you're not, the children are going to know.
Yes. And that's not a good thing, because they have a tendency to, I don't care how old they are, they can play you against each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so those are really, really good suggestions, Chaute. So Kelly, what are your final remarks?
Yeah, absolutely. Just remember, it takes a village. And I know I have friends with their own biological children that I reach out to when I need advice or help. There's a lot of different forums and Facebook groups and things like that you can go, and especially for bonus moms, they're pretty interesting. Just remember that don't try to draw a line between dad's house and mom's house. If the girls want to tell me something that's going on in mom's life or in mom's house, or that they did with mom this weekend, we sit there and listen and put a smile on our face and ask questions and be interested in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful. Chaute, would you tell people where they can reach you?
Definitely. I'm on Instagram, Chaute Thompson. That's CHAUTE Thompson, THOMPSON. I'm also on Facebook, and I have 2 Facebook communities. It's Brand New Me Journey. And if you want to get resources and support from other individuals that are going through divorce or breakups or just transitioning period, there's Brand New Me, Phenomenal You.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, ladies, thank you. This has been amazing. I thank all our guests for staying with us. And Chastity says parents splitting. Yes, and that happens. That happens a lot. And she said, great job, ladies. And thank you so much for tuning in and for talking back to us. And if you are catching us on the replay, let us know that you're watching it and share this out, because I think this will help somebody. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you for having me
here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, this was a good, very, very good topic. And Kelly, I wish you all the best with your family and your upcoming. I hope the weather holds up for you and
no big snowstorms.
right. So thank you all again for watching, and join us next week, Monday night, for another episode of Teen Talk Live, where we transform the minds and lives of teens and those who love them. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.